Hey friends, happy Sunday. I am Abby and I am committed to providing you with doses of motivation and positivity through 90 seconds in the Word. Our verse of today comes from 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22, and it says, "Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord?" To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed better than the fat of rams. Now, you may have heard people say many times that obedience is better than sacrifice. And certainly, brothers and sisters, that is true. And we want to make sure that we are obedient to what God is calling us to do and what He's calling us out of, even if it's challenging, right? That should always be our goal. Do we succeed every time? Probably not, if we're honest, right? I know I'll be honest and I don't succeed every time, but I get back up and I try again. And here is my challenge for you today. Are we being obedient in the areas that God has asked us to be obedient in? Because part of change and transformation means that God is going to call us out of certain things. God is going to ask us to move away from certain people, from situations. You might be in a living situation that does not please or glorify God. You might be actively in behaviors and sins that you know is not pleasing to God, that He might be asking you to stop. And that's where the sacrifice comes in, right? Because the things that are easier for us, the things that we're comfortable in, the things that sometimes we could believe, it may not be that He's even asking us to step away from a sinful behavior. He may be asking us to walk in bold faith. And because we can't see it, we can't comprehend it, we're not going to go after it. And I was guilty of that in the past. I can't see it. I can't comprehend it. Maybe I didn't really hear from God. So, I'm not going to really try it. So while we want obedience to be greater than sacrifice, we want to make sure that we are not running around saying, well, I'm sacrificing this and I'm giving up this. But are you giving up the very thing that God is asking you to give up? Are you being obedient to Him in that area? What is God asking you to do that you can be honest and say you haven't been obedient with? Who has He asked you to reach out to? Who has He asked you to forgive? What does He ask you to not do that you've not been obedient to because it's hard? Change, transformation, and everything that God has for us on the other side of that is not always going to be an easy road. It's not always going to be 1, 2, 3. We all have our road to Damascus, right? We all have a before and after story and testimony. But at the end of the day, I am here to tell you that being obedient is what wins. Is it easy? No. Does it stretch you? Yes. Are there times you absolutely don't want to do it? You will feel that way at times. But don't let the enemy make you believe that because it's hard and you're struggling with it, that it's not of God. We live in a fallen world where it rains on the just and the unjust. So we have to be tuned into God and tuned into His word to know when we're hearing from Him. It says that the sheep knows the shepherd's voice. We know the voice of God. And if you're not sure it's of God, go into prayer, fast, go into the word. God will never ask you to do something that goes against His own word. But let's be obedient. I'm right along with you. We got a few more days left in October. Let's see what God can do in us and through us when we first start being obedient. Stay encouraged, friends, and I'll talk to you soon.